Aquaman 2: The Lost Kingdom. So yeah, look, Aquaman is nobody's favorite. And I know there's probably somebody out there like, he's my favorite. Like, just be quiet. He's nobody's favorite. He's kind of the black sheep of the Justice League family. And obviously, I think they try to spice him up a little bit by casting Jason Momoa, which I think that was a pretty good choice. But this movie, first off, the CGI in this movie is not very good. Especially the scenes where they're underwater. I don't know what's up with Hollywood, but they cannot make people underwater look right. Like, it just looks weird. Maybe in the future we'll be able to do that, but for now, no, we can't do it. It doesn't work. It looks weird. And let's get something else out of the way. Amber Heard is in this movie. I know how we all feel about Amber Heard, all right?
My dog stepped on a bee.
Nobody likes her. We get it. I know. I understand. She was probably in more of the film, and they pretty much cut her out of this film as much as they possibly could. There's a few times she's in it where you can tell like she kind of has to be in it for the story to progress. Like, she has probably like 3 lines of dialogue, you guys, and that's it. And the 3 lines of dialogue that she has, she does not deliver them very well. I do remember one thing from the first film, and that's that Amber Heard and Jason Momoa, they had like 0 chemistry together. And it's pretty much the same here. They have 0 chemistry. She pretty much has 0 chemistry with anybody. But if you were worried about her being in here, she's barely in it. She barely has any lines of dialogue. And also, like, no matter how you feel about Amber Heard, you can't deny that she's like a really attractive woman, but she looks weird in this movie, and I don't know why. But if we're speaking about looks, my gosh. So Patrick Wilson, wow. Because let me just tell you, look, Patrick Wilson, I like him as an actor, blah, blah, blah. I don't find him attractive at all. He has such strong, like, suburban dad genes. Everything about him is just like responsible dad. Like, seems like someone that would sit down and he would talk to you about your life decisions and how to be more responsible and how to get good credit. I'm not saying those are bad things, guys, but man, I was a little bit torn because when I saw how beefy Patrick Wilson got in this film, I was just a tad bit thirsty. And I mean, it makes sense. Like, I would want to get in really good shape if I had to stand next to Jason Momoa as well. But yeah, dude, Patrick Wilson, he looks freaking great in this movie. It was very confusing. So this movie was a lot different than what I was expecting. But I went into this movie not seeing like a single preview, not being excited to watch this movie at all, barely remembering the first one. And I will say, it was actually a lot more entertaining than I was expecting. And I have to give it to James Wan that, like, I feel like he took a character like Aquaman and he's trying to make him as fun as possible, which I kind of have to give him props for because it almost works. He's taking a character that doesn't really work into the world of Superman and the brooding Batman. He kind of does feel like the odd man out. But what James Wan is trying to do here is he's trying to give us something we haven't seen before in some of these superhero movies. We're usually in this dark brooding city, and here we're not. We're actually being able to explore the underwater world, and to a degree, I thought that was actually kind of interesting and unique. Let me be clear, this movie is a mess, and it's not very good. But there are elements to it that are entertaining and fun because of just how creative they were. And you get hints of something that could have been actually kind of good. And to a point, it was kind of refreshing. And I could be wrong about this, but I feel like maybe if James Wan had like a little more power when it came to the story of this film, maybe it could have been better. I feel like he knows that this movie is not anything special. You know what I mean? He knows that this is like kind of a character no one cares about that much, and DC is kind of in a bad place, so he's just trying to be memorable and he's just trying to have fun. And to a degree, he kind of succeeds because there are parts of this movie that are fun. So there's a scene towards the beginning where Arthur is going to break out Ocean Master, Patrick Wilson's character, from prison. And he's in prison in the middle of a desert, but the desert's right by the ocean. And this is actually the scene where we get to see beefy Patrick Wilson. So like, I was like, whoa. So this scene I think was kind of fun. Is it corny? Yeah. Okay. And then there is another part of this movie where Ocean Master, Patrick Wilson, and Arthur, they go to pretty much like this Jabba the Hutt character. He's fish Jabba the Hutt. And it was kind of fun. It was kind of interesting. It was unique. And I kind of like the music in the background, and it's obviously strongly taking some inspiration from the Jabba the Hutt scene in Star Wars. And I honestly kind of wanted to stay there a little longer because it's a pretty quick scene, but it was kind of fun. Like, I liked that. It was definitely not what I was expecting. And it was like setting up this world, like this under the sea world, which we haven't really seen that much. We're always in the city, you know what I mean? In these movies, these superhero movies, we're always in a city somewhere. But this was kind of interesting because now we're kind of in a different environment. And then at one point, Patrick Wilson's character and Arthur, they go to this like magical jungle. And it reminded me a lot of Skull Island in King Kong. It was actually kind of fun. And I did actually like the dynamics between Arthur and Patrick Wilson's character. You know, they're brothers and they were kind of working together. The rest of the movie, honestly, is like a mess. But those 3 parts of the film I found enjoyable. By the way, Jason Momoa keeps saying, "Good job, little brother, high five." And I was like, wait, Jason Momoa's character, Arthur, is Patrick Wilson's big brother? I don't think so. And I looked it up, and no. Jason Momoa is 44, and Patrick Wilson is 50. So there's a pretty big age gap. Oh, and by the way, just so you know, so Nicole Kidman, who plays their mom, and she's 56 years old. So, yeah, like she had him real young, I guess. I also just want to say real fast, like Nicole Kidman, she does look great for her age and everything, but whatever she's doing around her mouth, she needs to stop doing it because it looks weird. Like, she can't emote right. She can't talk right. It just looks weird. I wouldn't be surprised if she has absolutely no feeling in her mouth. I like James Wan as a director. There were times where there were some practical effects, which I really appreciate. This movie made me think like, okay, I think James Wan would actually be good at maybe directing or writing a fantasy adventure. That's what this made me want to see. Oh yeah, I almost forgot because so did the movie. The bad guy in this movie, Manta, he's from the first one. So look, if you're a fan of Manta, his character, you're really gonna be not happy with this movie. Because yeah, technically he's the bad guy, but he's actually possessed by like this ancient king who had a black trident, who's like a royal Atlantean guy or something. I actually don't really remember. I didn't pay attention. So it's not actually Manta. It's like Manta, but he's possessed. And they kind of just throw his character away, especially towards the end. They're just like, yeah, bye-bye. Yeah, he's gone. I will say there was a scene at the very end where Manta and Arthur fight, and it was a cool like 4 seconds. If you turn your brain off and you kind of accept that it's kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon, I feel like you're probably going to enjoy it to a degree. But like I said, I didn't even want to watch this movie. So the fact that I had such low expectations for it, and it actually gave me a little more than I was expecting, might be the reason for me not like just going to town and hating this movie. I also really like James Wan. I really respect him as a director, and I think that he did a good job for what he had. I'm pretty sure DC's not even like including this AQUAMAN to the new DC going forward. So it is kind of just a throwaway movie. But let me know what you guys thought about this movie. I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, and I hope you guys have a Happy New Year. Just keep watching movies, guys, and keep being happy. And I'll see you next year. Bye.
So dramatic.